Welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Harry. We are thrilled to have Damon John, founder and CEO of Fubu and co-star and serial investor on the hit show Shark Tank. A few notable investments that Damon made on Shark Tank were Bombas Socks, Moe's Bows, which is actually one of my favorites, and Bubba's Q boneless ribs. Guy, the floor is yours.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm really excited to introduce you all to Damon John, someone who needs no introduction at all whatsoever. Damon, thank you so much for being with us here today at our side-by-side forum.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure. I am personally really curious to know why people call you the people's shark.
They call me that, I think, because on Shark Tank, there's a lot of different type of people that will come on Shark Tank. Some people, have risked it all, and some people didn't maybe risk it all. But we have seen people on there with $1 million in the bank, and they're like, "Hey, well, I guess I just want a shark, and I'll give you 2% for $500,000." And the reason the show was created, or it really got popular, was in the great recession when people did not have a place to go and find funding. And so I very rarely get upset on the show. But I do get upset when I do feel that somebody or a family has risked everything and, they got the college fund up at risk, the 401k, they've done everything. They just need a helping hand. And I do get upset at some of those people who do go on there and want to exploit the platform, or maybe not even exploit it. They just feel that they have $1 million, they need a little bit of help, and that's not the platform for it. So I think of the fact that most Americans, don't make over $35,000 or $40,000. There are a lot of people that I resonate with, and every shark resonates with. I think they call me the people shark because I hopefully I'm the voice of the person or the people that really need help, and they put in the work, and they just sometimes need that strategic partner or mentor.
Do you have empathy for that because that's where you come from?
I do. I do. I have empathy for anybody that puts in the work. Any of those who want to dream big. Any of those who came from zero. And listen, maybe you didn't come from zero, but your family's not helping you. As long as you put in the work, I do have empathy for those people because I am one of those people, and I'm only here because a handful of mentors guided me when I was going down the wrong path, or gave me some information that allowed me to just be a little more smarter in my decision-making process.
Mm. You are known as someone who today is still working with some of the same people that you sort of started your career with and took on all of those challenges with. How do you think about maintaining business relationships, partnerships, working relationships over long periods of time? What are the essential ingredients to that?
I think that's a great question. I think a lot of honesty, a lot of being very transparent of what you expect out of somebody, and having empathy to understand where they may be suffering. And I'm a true believer that if you and I have a challenge, that if I fire you or cut you off as a friend or whatever the case may be, well, that doesn't mean that the next person is going to be able to replace what you've done, and or we're not going to have a problem too. So I believe in any relationship, it's about being very open-minded to discussing why both parties feel a certain way. And I have had to unfortunately fire friends. I've given them warnings. I've had to let them go, and I've had to say, "I'm sorry, I got to let you go. Now, be at the house for the barbecue on Friday, but as for now, you don't work at the company anymore." And I think only people can respect that, that transparency and that honesty. But you got to be honest with yourself. What are you expecting out of the relationship as well? And are you contributing to the problem, or are you contributing to the solution?
So a lot of people will say, don't work with your friends, don't hire family. But maybe what you're saying is give people an opportunity and a chance if you think they're capable, but be honest with yourself about whether or not it's working.
Also, be very clear cut on the expectations and the
Mm,
deliverables. When I've hired friends, I've said, "Here is your job," and they were like, "All right, well, what am I getting in return?"
mhm,
And you hit criterias and milestones. I believe that in everything. I love the book One Minute Manager, where it likes to tell you that often we assume what other people want from us or expect from us instead of having the conversation and saying and being very clear on what it is. That doesn't mean it's going to work out, but at least you've set all the cards on the table and you know where the rewards are as well as the challenges are and the potential discipline or the walking away from each other are.
mm. So as you know, Side, our company, we partner with the very best real estate agents and professionals in the industry, and we help them establish themselves as brands and companies and take what they already do so well and do it for so many more people, just better distribute and better serve. And you, of course, have some exposure to that because you're on Shark Tank with Barbara Corcoran. That's where she sort of made her career and where she grew up and made her money. One of the things that I talk about a lot is that there's no such thing as a successful real estate agent who isn't an entrepreneur first, who can get up in the morning and creatively connect invisible dots and figure out how to go from where they are to where they want to be. And I wonder, as someone who is a celebrated entrepreneur like yourself, what is the advice you would impart to successful entrepreneurs who are maybe generating $500,000 all the way up to $15 million a year in revenue in their companies? What's the things that they should keep in mind as they continue to evolve and develop and grow and spread their wings?
Yeah, really excellent question. And it is truly to work with a company such as yourself because you cannot know every single thing. You can't know how to be the best social media person, the best person with your taxes, with accounting, with then marketing, because there's so many levels of marketing, right? There's social media, there's print, there's billboards, there's direct mail, there's flyers, there's everything else. So find a bunch of strategic relationships. OPM is not other people's money. It's other
Hmm.
people's manufacturing, marketing, manpower, mind power, and find more strategic relationships and dig deep into what you know how to do best at your company. Because the reason why your company is so great at what they do is because this is what you concentrate on. And as the person who is the real estate person, that person should concentrate on what they do best. Do they have a unique selling proposition? Do they buy ugly houses or great houses? Can they put themselves in 2 to 5 words? Do they transform people? People could be transformed in various different ways. I am going to look for a home that is my legacy. I'm going to look for a home that I'm going to rent out and be an Airbnb. I'm going to look for land that I'm going to put the pipes in and I'm just going to sell it this way. I'm looking for AAA. I'm looking for everything. Understand your specialty and your unique selling proposition, and make sure as you go out to your customers, you are obsessed with your customers. A lot of people don't realize the key to success is being obsessed with the customers. The people that are letting many people represent them like them. That's what it is. They like them. They feel like you know me, and they feel like they can trust their dream or their investment in their hands. Be the best at that and find, and utilize, you guys for what you do best so it can let you concentrate on what you do best.
Here's a bit of a trickier question. A lot of the agents that we partner with, all of them, in fact, are successful when we meet them. They've already managed to get to a place in their career where they've accomplished a great deal, an impressive amount. And what often is the case is what got them there is not going to be what is going to get them to what's next. And that often introduces a lot of uncertainty and doubt. And it's a struggle for people to think through um, how to behave in a way that's different than what actually got you to where you are, or do things in a way that isn't the same. Do you have any counsel or perspective or advice on that for how to get through that, how to work through that as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, and it goes a little bit to what I had just said to you about understanding how to have strategic relationships. It's entrepreneurship is clearly a team sport. I find that in my world, the best thing that I did was replace myself with somebody else. The reason why is I can tell, and a good again, great sourcing is absolutely imperative. I can tell when a person who's supposed to be doing my job sucks because I did my job, and I can tell when they're a rock star. Now, that's not an easy replacement. You're going to kiss a lot of frogs. But when I do that, I'm able to replicate myself in various different areas. And
Hmm.
that is key to being able to scale your business, being able to replicate yourself in different areas. Barbara will clearly say it in her, and when you hear her speak, that she replicated herself with this one woman and she gave that one woman 10% of her company because she understood that she was going to grow like that. And that's how you do. You bring on amazing people. And when you bring on amazing people, though, it's key how I bring on my people. When I bring them on, they have one job to do the job they were hired for. The job number two is to be a team player and be a Swiss Army knife and jump in when you feel that there's others in need. And number three, which is the most important part, when you retain really great people, the way to keep them is to make sure they share. And I always say to my people, if you get past these two, we'll open up a new business, or maybe I'll give you a piece of this business or a piece of the
I
upside.
love that.
I make sure they're rewarded in acknowledgement as well as monetarily, because the really good people, if you don't reward them, you know what? They become your competition. They
Hmm.
get stolen by
Hmm.
somebody else. So it's important to make sure that you share the wealth and you're not too close when you start to expand and give away a little bit of the control. That's the problem with entrepreneurs. The same thing that the one thing that got them there is they had a million hats on. They were risking everything. And the minute they give it away, and you will have some rotten apples or people who don't see your vision. As soon as it screws up, you go, wait a minute. Everything I work for is about to crumble, but you have to be vulnerable and have a little bit of faith in the people that you bring on to help scale and grow the business.
Speaking for myself, and I know many can relate to this, struggle is a very powerful motivator. Uh, it's really, fuel for the fire. You have been a multi-millionaire for many, many years now, yet, and can retire. You don't need to be here on this call. You don't have to get up at any particular time in the morning. But you remain one of the hardest working people in the world, certainly within inside of your own business. What is it that continues to motivate you and keeps you growing and pushing yourself to new heights? And you know, after already tasting all that success effectively has to offer.
That's a great question, but I'm very honest with myself, and I set goals on what I want to accomplish, and I pull back I pull back and I ask myself the tough questions. Every single year I write my obituary, and I write my obituary
I
of
love
one
it.
year, and I write my obituary of 10 years and 20 years. I write two type of obituaries. I write one of somebody who's writing the obituary for me, who I have hopefully been a great person to, whether it's a husband or wife or somebody who didn't know me. And then I write the other obituary, which is the person who was let down by me for whatever reason. And that gives you clarity. And I'm saying any person. So I can write the obituary of Damon did this, did this, did this, did this, but I can also write the other obituary of I thought Damon could have done more. I thought Damon wasted his time here. I thought Damon
Uh,
was built better. And no matter what, that brings you and it brings you back to where you are. And I just truly am a person who believes that anything worth doing is worth overdoing. And if I'm going to take the time, I can only set my goals and set them big. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to set it this big. That's how I turn t-shirts into a global brand.
they were
When
nice
most people
T-shirts.
said, yeah, well, most people said t-shirts. Everybody's got t-shirts, right? These are the things that I strive to accomplish, and that's just the way I live my life, and it's really due to goal setting. It's really due to knowing my why and reflecting on what I want to this year and the next 20 years to look like when it comes to my legacy.
And so, in some ways, you can think about growth as something that's infinite and never ending, and kind of ongoing process, not a destination.
It is definitely not a destination. It is an ongoing process. The Damon at 20 years old wanted to only be able to have a couple of stores where he sold some T-shirts and maybe his friends could all work in there. The Damon at 30 years old, and I got to tell you, to set bigger goals, you got to be vulnerable and you got to be scared. The Damon at 30 years old said, "Wait a minute, I got this global brand, and you know what? Hot fashion brands last 5 to 7 years, and you know what? This thing's gonna crumble. Now you have your Nikes and your Louis Vuittons, the unicorns." And I said to myself, will I be the laughing stock of the industry, just hit the lotto once or took one bite at the apple? And then the Damon at 40 years old said, I lost my family due to a divorce, and I was so busy working. I'm going to get married to this new woman, and I'm not going to be that type of father anymore and that type of husband. And the Damon at 50 was like, I went through cancer and I survived it, and it was because of early detection. And I got to get out there and be very honest to entrepreneurs that if you have early detection, there's 70% chance that you can fight, you can beat anything that you have. And if I get one person to take a endoscopy, colonoscopy, pap smear, mammogram, if I help save one person's life, because you don't hear us talk about that on Shark Tank, well, then what the hell is business, being a business leader, worth if I can't get somebody out there to go do the right thing to save their lives? So my goals always change, and that's why you said it's not a destination; it's an ongoing lesson.
No pun intended, but shifting gears, you have a new book out. It's called Power Shift, which I think is an awesome name. And in fact, for all those watching at home, if you go to the virtual bookstore, you can order Damon's book complimentary as a gift from Side and have that mailed out to you. So by all means, I encourage you all to do so.
And thank you so much for that.
Thank you for writing it and imparting so much insight and wisdom. A lot of people come from a place of scarcity and don't want to share the secrets to their success or how it is that they got to where they are. And whenever there's someone like yourself who is much more willing to do so and spread the wealth, if you will, I just think that makes all the difference. The question, however, is, as someone who's gained a great deal of power and influence in the culture, not just financially, but as a figure, can you share a few key takeaways from the book and what people can expect as they start to read it?
Yeah, so I'm dyslexic. This is my fifth book. I don't write them for any reason of, just to put my name out there is very challenging. And I wrote the book 2 years ago, and it happened to drop right as soon as COVID hit in March. And the book has various different people in the book, from Billie Jean King, who changed the face of sports, to Kris Jenner, to Pitbull, to Mark Cuban, to people you will never hear of, but have managed to power shift their lives, at an earlier stage. The reason why I wrote the book is because all my other books that I wrote, when people come up to me, oh, I need to know this, I need to know this, I recommend whether a book by Tim Ferriss or Malcolm Gladwell, whoever, or myself, if it fits the model. And a lot of people have said, I read all your books, Damon, but you know what? I don't have the power. Somebody took the power from me, or they were waiting for somebody to give them power. And I said to myself, who the hell is going to give you power? I'm not going to come to your house and take you off the couch and make you successful. Now, I may do that if there's something in it for me, and we may do it collectively. And I realized that maybe Shark Tank has spoiled people a little bit. Maybe people go and they believe that life is very transactional, and it's like this: hello, sharks, my name is so forth. And you know what? In 8 minutes, you either got a deal or not. And nothing can be further from the truth. There are several steps to negotiating, and there's several steps to understanding. So first of all, understand your why. Number two is you have to be able to build influence, and I'll get to that in a second. Number three is, when you negotiate, what's in it for the person on the other side of the table. And last but not least, most deals do not create a transaction in the first time that you meet, speak, or talk to somebody. It is usually way after that, and you have to nurture the relationships that you have, whether the person slammed the door in your face or not. And some people will say, well, Damon, I met you in an elevator. I had 90 seconds to pitch you. How do I build influence in an elevator in 90 seconds? I didn't even know I was going to see you. Well, I love telling the story of a woman who I was in an elevator with. She pitched me an idea. She told me her business, and she said, anything I can do for you, have your people look me up, and I will over provide for you. And if this doesn't work, no problem. I will just go about my business. I go look her up. I pull up the phone. As soon as I get out, I see her on this, on her Instagram. Everything she says looks great. However, I keep seeing a picture of her and this other guy, and this guy has Confederate flags all over his shirt and his hat. And I keep going through the pictures, and I notice that's her husband. Now, I have no idea what he thinks about the Confederate flag. Maybe he just likes the design. However, she'll never know why I never called her, because as I look through her influence, created something that was not necessarily what I felt is my best interest. I go through there. That book shows you a lot of techniques where it comes to building influence, as well as body language and how you communicate efficiently, especially when we are in a world of visual, now with the Zooms and the Instagrams of the world.
I'll go off script for 1 second because you said something that I think is such an interesting point that I personally struggle with. I know so many of the agents that we work with struggle with, which is the relationship between your authentic self and what maybe you believe in your private life versus how it is that you present yourself to the world and whether or not that should be filtered and packaged in a certain way so that it does optimize for your greatest opportunity for success. How do you reconcile those two things, that authentic sense of self that you have as an individual and then what others need you to be in order for you to be successful?
I believe that you have to be really organic to yourself. Now, if you happen to be in politics or various different areas where people want to know your true beliefs and you cannot get a position without doing that, then that's fine. But I hate to break it to you, listen, the people on social media are not your friends. Most of us grew up, we have 5 friends, 10 friends. You do not have 5,000 friends. And like your mama said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Social media
Good
is your
advice.
advertising platform. Use it for that way. Now, what can be done out of there? Well, when I look at listen, when I invest in people, whether it's on Shark Tank or whether it's in person, whether they come to I employ them. We invest in people we like. That means I'm not going to hire you unless I understand that I'm willing to sit on Zoom 8 hours a day or next to you 5 days a week for the next 5 years. That means I'm looking at the things you're doing. Social media can help. Are you somebody who's always talking about charitable organizations? Are you somebody who's always walking into the room with a smile? Are you somebody who's a mentor? You can be a kid and be a reverse mentor because you're a digital native and you're showing the older individuals in my club how to communicate faster. However, if you're going to talk about political issues, and we all know that you will never win if you play politics or religion, no matter what, somebody's not going to like what you say. There's no need for that. Talk to your friends, your colleagues at home, your colleagues in the church, your organization. Please be free to do that. But I do not suggest doing that on social media. There is advantage to it
Unless
if
you're
you're
okay
trying to
limiting
find a
your
cult.
success.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no reason.
Yes, because
You
that's the
could
implication.
listen. You can be talking to a husband who is like, and you see him all the time. Again, being very left or being very right, and you could be like, I love that about you. But by the way, you want to represent that house? His wife hates that about him, and she's the decision maker. So just because you're saying that to him, and you think you're going to get somebody to, buy into you, but the wife who's the decision maker. So what's the upside? I'm
Yeah.
sure that person never said to you, if you only like this party, I'm going to give you the deal. What's the upside?
So Damon, what I hear you saying, and maybe in my own imperfect words, is don't treat social media like a stress ball. Treat it as your actual marketing platform for your business.
Yeah, listen, if that's your area to go into very sensitive topics, then that is your business, and a lot of people, as we know, make a big profit off that. But if that's
Yes.
not your area, that's not someplace that you should be sharing that information. You know what you should be sharing? All the amazing things you're doing and all the
Yes.
ways that I go, God damn it, I can't wait to get that person in my life or on my team because this person is the most, you know what? If I don't get this person on my team, somebody else will. That's
Yes.
how you want people to think.
Oh, I know that feeling really well. We only have a few minutes left. I'd love to do a quick little lightning round, if you don't mind. Short
Let's
answers,
go.
pass, don't pass, totally up to you. But here's the hardest question first. Coolest product to ever come out of Shark Tank, in your opinion? And it can be your own investment. That's cool too.
Ring doorbell that sold for $1.2 billion
Totally.
to
Great.
Amazon, but it also became different forms of security for neighborhoods and various other things. The other two would be my Bombas socks, who's the number one product in
Yep.
Shark Tank history that I got invested in. Why? Because it taught me that social causes, today's consumer wants to know not only what you're doing for them, but what are you doing for somebody else.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful for them for financing so many awesome podcasts
Yes, they're really great for that.
with their sponsorships.
They believe in entrepreneurship.
Really hard thing to do, but how would you describe yourself, say, in 3 words?
Student,
Love that.
vulnerable, and hungry and driven, just driven.
You know, if you had asked me to guess 3 things, they would have been so far removed from those. So it goes to show. Next, next one. This should be a really easy one. Is Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, a jerk in real life?
No. Just don't ask him what he thinks. Just don't ask him what he thinks about money. He is one of the sweetest guys. He's one of my closest friends, and he is one of the sweetest guys you will ever meet. Just don't ask him what he thinks about money. He really, really cares about money.
Yeah, it's his great love.
Yeah.
2 more. Something from your bucket list that you have yet to do. Do you even have a bucket list at this point?
Yeah, dive the coral reef in Australia.
Okay. Why haven't you done that yet? You know, there might not be that much longer for us to be able to do that.
I know. I haven't gotten to it. It's a big world out there.
It is a big
So I
world
gotta
out
get
there.
to it.
That could be a full-time job in and of itself.
Yes, it is. Yes, it can.
And last but not least, before we get into our live Q&A with audience questions, who is it today that inspires you?
Too hard of a question because I get it. I'm inspired from so many different angles and so many different people. Very, very hard question. Sorry, I can't answer that one. Too many.
So, and I think that's a fair answer. Is that you kind of are liberal about where you find inspiration, and it's great to get it from many different places and not necessarily just the one.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that about yourself. We'll wrap things up for today, and then tomorrow we'll have an opportunity to have the audience actually ask you their questions, and I'm looking forward to facilitating that. So until then, thank you.
All right. I am excited. I look forward.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was not only inspiring, but also invigorating. I hope you all were able to grab some gems from Daymond. Well, following another wonderful 15-minute session with Harry Mack, we have a very rich afternoon planned for you, with specialized tracks to follow, meeting our wonderful speakers, and a live Q&A session. The afternoon session officially begins at 11:30 and will be followed by 7 cocktail mastermind sessions. Get some good rest tonight and join us back here tomorrow beginning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another very full day of impactful speakers such as Shannon McGann, Mimi Nardi, and Merritt Hummer, and a live Q&A that you cannot miss with Damon John. Thank you all again for joining us at Side by Side. Take it away, Harry.